This war no longer moves the way it did in its first 2 years. The tempo has changed, the rhythm of operations has changed, and the map on the ground is shifting faster than anyone expected. One question has now become the center of military discussions worldwide. How is Russia able to strike almost every hour across multiple sectors at once? And why is Ukraine, even after understanding the pattern, still struggling to stop it? Movements in Krasnoarmeysk, pressure in Gulyaypole, pushes around Chasiv Yar and Kupyansk, all following a similar pattern, yet incredibly difficult to resist. Across many parts of the front line, we see the same method repeated with remarkable consistency. Russia no longer relies on large frontal assaults. What they use now is phased pressure, pressure that never stops. Drones come first, artillery follows, then long-range air strikes, and once the opponent is worn down, infantry advances slowly and deliberately. This style of warfare doesn't break a city with one decisive blow. It breaks it through exhaustion, isolation, and collapsing logistics. Gulyaypole is the latest example. Air and artillery strikes hit continuously. Ukrainian positions were struck several times every hour, and when supply lines began to fail, the defensive line fell with it. This is Russia's operational model today: slow, steady, and systematic. And this is where their advantage begins to show. Many assumed Russia would eventually run out of ammunition, but reality shows the opposite. Their rate of attack has only increased. This didn't happen by chance. Russia shifted its entire economy into a wartime footing. Military factories now operate non-stop. Millions of artillery shells are produced each year, and tens of thousands of FPV drones are assembled every month. Old Soviet-era bombs, once left to gather dust, are now fitted with UMPC glide kits, turning them into inexpensive long-range precision weapons. Shade, Lancet, Tornado S. Russia leans heavily on weapons that are simple, cheap, and brutally effective. Meanwhile, Ukraine needs highly expensive air defense systems to stop even a single strike. This is the irony of modern warfare. Russian attacks are cheap, defending against them is costly, and as long as the cost of attacking stays lower than the cost of defending, Russia's tempo will remain the same. Ukraine understands Russia's playbook. The structure is clear, the sequence is predictable. But stopping it is a completely different challenge. The first problem is industrial capacity. Ukraine does not have a full-scale wartime industry. It depends almost entirely on foreign supplies for heavy ammunition. When European or American assistance is delayed, the front line feels it immediately. The second problem is the sheer length of the front. More than 1,000 kilometers, and every sector must be defended. Russia only needs to find one weak spot. They concentrate drones, concentrate artillery, concentrate air power, and that point slowly collapses. Then they move on to the next. The third problem lies in air defense. Ukraine simply doesn't have enough long-range systems to stop Russian jets dropping FAB 1,500 or FAB 3,000 bombs from dozens of kilometers away. When those massive bombs fall, trenches break, bunkers fail, and defensive positions crumble. Ukraine is also facing a shortage of experienced soldiers. Many elite units were lost in major battles in the east. New mobilization efforts cannot always replace that level of skill. All these factors make it extremely difficult for Ukraine to stop Russian operations, even if they understand how those operations work. Russia's strength is not just in weaponry, it's in the combination of systems working together. A large industrial base, mass production, enormous numbers of drones, dominant artillery, counter-battery radar, powerful electronic warfare, consistent troop rotation, and centralized political decision-making. Ukraine operates in a completely different environment. They rely on countries with their own domestic political agendas. Aid decisions depend on elections, parliamentary debates, or changes in government. And on the battlefield, time does not wait. This doesn't mean Ukraine is wrong in everything. They've introduced many creative solutions. They pioneered large-scale FPV drone use. They've resisted under extremely difficult conditions. And they continue trying to hold the line despite overwhelming pressure. But the facts on the ground show one thing clearly. Industrial power and ammunition volume give Russia a long-term advantage. If the current trend continues, and if there is no major shift in international support, Russia's operational rhythm will remain the same. Slow advances, constant pressure, more frequent airstrikes, and supply-choked cities becoming the next targets. Ukraine may still hold key strategic locations, but isolated towns hit repeatedly by air, and drone strikes rarely hold out for long. Everything goes back to industrial stamina. And in modern warfare, the side with the larger production engine often determines the direction of the conflict. This war is not only about maps, not only about who advances or retreats. It's about how two very different systems collide, a large industrial machine versus reliance on external aid, mass production versus costly precision, sustained pressure versus dwindling defenses. The reality today shows that Russia is leveraging its industrial capacity with remarkable efficiency. Meanwhile, Ukraine is fighting hard to hold ground with limited resources. These developments must be viewed with a calm mind, without fanaticism, without exaggeration, and without blindly blaming one side, because war always affects both sides, and every shift on the front line is the result of many complex factors. If you have your own perspective or insights that differ from this analysis, feel free to share them in the comments. Let's explore the bigger picture together. Thank you for watching. Respect all viewpoints, and may this analysis help broaden your understanding of the conflict. This content is created solely for educational and informational purposes. It is intended to provide insights based on verified data, credible sources, and careful analysis. Our goal is to foster a deeper understanding of modern military technology and current events, not to promote or endorse any form of conflict, propaganda, or political agenda. We strictly oppose the spread of misinformation and hoaxes. Every piece of information presented has been carefully sourced from reliable, publicly available references. We encourage viewers to approach the topic with critical thinking and respect for all sides involved, maintaining a focus on knowledge sharing and open discussion.